May 2023. A missile streaks across Ukrainian skies at over 500 miles per hour, flying below radar, hugging terrain, imaging infrared guidance locked on target. Then, impact. The Russian command post in occupied Crimea erupts, communications severed, logistics disrupted, supply routes cut. Russia didn't see it coming, neither did the world. This was Storm Shadow, Britain's precision cruise missile, and it changed everything. But Storm Shadow is just the beginning. From supersonic anti-drone missiles arriving 5 months early, to tank guns that act like sniper rifles, to the world's largest military training program, transforming civilians into combat soldiers in 7 weeks, Britain has deployed weapons and capabilities to Ukraine that Russia never anticipated. This is the story of Britain's secret arsenal, the weapons, the training, the impact, and why it matters more than you think. Let's start with the weapon that changed the war, Storm Shadow, also known as SCALPEG in France, a precision-guided air-launched cruise missile with one mission: destroy hardened, high-value targets deep behind enemy lines. May 11, 2023. The United Kingdom announces it's supplying Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. This is historic. These aren't shoulder-fired rockets or short-range artillery. These are 250-kilometer range cruise missiles capable of striking command centers, ammunition depots, and logistics hubs far beyond the front lines. 2 days later, May 13, 2023, Ukraine uses them for the first time. Russian industrial sites in occupied Luhansk. Direct hits. The missile weighs 1,300 kilograms with a 450-kilogram broach tandem warhead specifically designed to penetrate reinforced concrete and detonate inside structures, bunkers, command posts, underground facilities. Not a single missile or tank, but a comprehensive, sustained, evolving commitment to Ukraine's survival and success. Storm Shadow changed the strategic calculus. Challenger 2 proved Western armor works. Ukrainian crews love the precision. The sniper tank delivers devastating results at ranges Russian tanks can't match. Martlet counters Russia's drone swarms. Affordable, mobile, effective. The anti-drone weapon Ukraine desperately needed. Operation Interflex builds an army. 56,000 soldiers trained and counting, extended through 2026, the human foundation of Ukraine's resistance. But beyond individual systems, Britain provided something more valuable: leadership. Britain was first to commit tanks, first to supply long-range missiles, first to establish large-scale training programs. That leadership catalyzed coalition unity. Germany followed, America followed, France, Poland, and others followed. Russia expected Western division. They got unprecedented cohesion. Russia expected hesitation. They got boldness. Russia expected fatigue. They got endurance. The weapon Russia didn't see coming was resolve. Political will backed by military capability, sustained over years despite costs and risks. And it's working. Ukraine still fights. Russia hasn't achieved its objectives. NATO is stronger. European security is more robust, all because Britain, along with allies, chose to stand with Ukraine when it mattered most. Storm Shadow, Challenger 2, Martlet, Operation Interflex. These are Britain's weapons Russia didn't see coming, and they're changing the war. January 2023, the United Kingdom becomes the first Western nation to commit main battle tanks to Ukraine. 14 Challenger 2 tanks, complete with ammunition, spare parts, and training. This was the domino that started an avalanche. Germany follows with Leopard 2s. The United States commits M1 Abrams. Poland, Spain, and others join. But it all started with Britain, the Challenger 2. Britain's main battle tank, 71 tons of armor, firepower, and resilience. What makes it special? That rifled 120mm L30A1 gun. Every other Western tank uses smoothbore guns, Leopard 2, M1 Abrams, all of them. Smoothbore guns are excellent for firing modern kinetic penetrators and have longer barrel life. But the Challenger 2's rifled gun is different. It's a sniper rifle among tank guns. Compare that to Russian and Ukrainian T-72 or T-80 tanks. The Challenger 2 routinely operates at 4.5 kilometers and has hit targets beyond that. March 2025. The UK announces no plans to send additional Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine. Instead, Britain commits to delivering over 50 other armored and protected vehicles, including modernized T-72 tanks and infantry fighting vehicles. Why no more Challengers? Britain needs to preserve its own tank fleet while upgrading 148 of them to Challenger 3 standard with smoothbore guns, modern electronics, and active protection systems. But the 14 tanks Britain did send, they opened the door. They proved Western tanks could operate effectively in Ukraine. They encouraged other nations to contribute, and they've delivered results far exceeding their small numbers. Challenger 2, the sniper tank. Here's the weapon Russia truly didn't see coming. 56,000 trained soldiers. Operation Interflex, the UK-led multinational training program that's turning Ukrainian civilians into combat-ready troops in 7 weeks. Launched July 9, 2022. Led by Britain's 11th Security Force Assistance Brigade, training sites across the UK. Over 1,050 British military personnel deployed as instructors. But here's what makes it revolutionary. It's not just British. 13 other nations have joined: Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Lithuania, Netherlands, Romania, Estonia, Kosovo, and Albania. It's the largest coalition military training program since World War II. And it's working. June 26, 2025 marks 3 years since the first Ukrainian trainees arrived in Britain. Over 56,000 Ukrainian soldiers trained. That's not a typo, 56,000. What do they learn? Basic infantry tactics, weapons handling, battlefield first aid, urban combat, defensive operations, leadership skills, close quarters battle, anti-tank warfare, mine awareness, communications, and as of late 2024, even landmine detection and disposal following US provision of anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. The results speak for themselves. Among leadership course graduates, 83% say they feel more able to make their troops survivable, and 93% feel more confident they can make troops under their command more lethal. But Interflex isn't static, it's evolving. The UK is shifting focus from basic combat training toward leadership and instructor courses. Why? Because training Ukrainian instructors creates a force multiplier. Those instructors return to Ukraine and train thousands more, exponentially expanding Ukraine's capacity to regenerate its military. Modern warfare isn't just physical, it's psychological, and Britain is addressing both. Russia expected Western support to fade. Instead, Britain is training an army, 56,000 soldiers and counting, extended through 2026, expanded and evolved based on battlefield lessons. This is the weapon Russia truly didn't see coming. October 10th, 2025. The UK delivers hundreds of Martlet lightweight multi-role missiles to Ukraine, 5 months ahead of schedule. Why does that matter? Because Russia is drowning Ukraine in drones. September 2025 alone, Russia launched approximately 5,500 one-way attack drones at Ukraine. That's over 180 per day. Shahed 136 Iranian kamikaze drones, Orlan 10 reconnaissance drones, Lancet loitering munitions, and increasingly homemade Russian variants produced in converted factories. Ukraine needs to stop them, and Martlet is the answer. What is Martlet? A lightweight, laser-guided missile designed specifically for fast-moving, low-flying threats. Weighs just 13 kilograms. Range, 6 kilometers. Speed, Mach 1.5. It can be shoulder-launched like a man-pads, mounted on vehicles, fired from helicopters, or even integrated onto drones. That versatility is critical. Ukrainian forces have adapted Martlet to Alvis Stormer armored vehicles, pickup trucks with improvised launchers, and are exploring integration with Mi-8 and Mi-24 helicopters. Ukrainian forces have used Martlet to destroy Russian Orlan-10 reconnaissance drones, Lancet loitering munitions, and even helicopters. June 27, 2022, the 95th Separate Airborne Assault Brigade shoots down a Russian Ka-52 Alligator attack helicopter with a Martlet missile. That's a $16 million helicopter destroyed by a $30,000 missile. The strategic context is broader. Martlet fits into a £1.6 billion UK-Ukraine defense cooperation agreement announced earlier in 2025. This isn't just weapons sales, it's joint industrial development. Thales, the British manufacturer producing Martlet in Belfast, is partnering with Ukraine to integrate the missile into Ukrainian-built vehicles, targeting systems, and platforms. Storm Shadow, Challenger 2, Operation Interflex, Martlet. Those are the headline weapons, but Britain's support runs far deeper. AS-90 self-propelled howitzers, 32 delivered. These 155mm artillery systems provide mobile, long-range fire support. Ukrainian crews praise their accuracy and reliability. L-119 light guns, towed 105mm artillery pieces, over 20 delivered, perfect for rapid deployment and air mobile operations. M270, multiple launch rocket systems. Britain sent several M270 MLRS, capable of firing GMLRS precision rockets out to 70 kilometers. These systems have been devastating against Russian logistics and command posts. Starstreak high-velocity missiles, Britain's man-portable air defense system. Starstreak missiles travel at over Mach 3, so fast they're nearly impossible to evade. Ukraine has used them to shoot down Russian helicopters and aircraft. NLAW anti-tank missiles, thousands delivered. The next-generation light anti-tank weapon has become one of Ukraine's most effective tools against Russian armor. Lightweight, portable, fire-and-forget capability. Brimstone missiles, air-launched precision weapons. Originally designed for tank busting, Brimstone has been adapted for ground launch by Ukrainian forces, hitting Russian vehicles with millimetric wave radar guidance. Over 200,000 artillery shells. Ammunition is the lifeblood of modern warfare. Britain committed £300 million to artillery ammunition alone in early 2025. Air defense systems. Britain provided components for integrated air defense networks, radar systems, and command and control equipment. Drones. Britain announced a £350 million investment in 2025 to increase drone supplies from 10,000 in 2024 to 100,000 in 2025. That's a tenfold increase. Everything from reconnaissance drones to loitering munitions. Armored vehicles. Over 1,000 armored, protected, and logistics vehicles delivered since 2022. Saxon armored personnel carriers, over 80 delivered. Soviet-era equivalent protection with better reliability. Training isn't limited to Operation Interflex. Specialist courses include tank crew training, Challenger 2 operators trained in UK, Marine infantry, Royal Marines training Ukrainian naval infantry in amphibious operations, fighter pilot instruction, RAF providing flight training and tactics development, cyber warfare, UK cyber specialists training Ukrainian cyber defense teams. All of this is coordinated through the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, meeting regularly at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Britain plays a leading role, advocating for increased support, coordinating contributions from other nations, and ensuring gaps are filled. It's not charity, it's strategic investment in European security. Every Russian tank destroyed in Ukraine is one less threatening NATO territory. Every Ukrainian soldier trained in Britain is one more defender of European stability. Every Storm Shadow missile striking Russian logistics is one more setback to Moscow's war machine. Britain understands this, and that understanding drives sustained, comprehensive, evolving support. Let's zoom out. Why does Britain's support to Ukraine matter beyond the immediate battlefield? First, deterrence. Russia invaded Ukraine believing the West would fracture, hesitate, and ultimately abandon Kyiv. Britain proved them wrong. By being the first to commit tanks, the first to supply long-range missiles, and the first to establish large-scale training programs, Britain set a standard other nations followed. Germany, initially hesitant, eventually provided Leopard 2 tanks, Iris-T air defense, and substantial financial aid. The United States committed HIMARS, Abrams tanks, and tens of billions in support. France provided Scalp missiles and Mirage fighters. Britain's leadership catalyzed coalition unity. Second, degrading Russian military capability. Every day this war continues, Russia loses equipment, personnel, and industrial capacity it cannot easily replace. Estimates suggest Russia has lost over 4,000 tanks and thousands of armored vehicles. Its artillery stockpiles are depleting. Its missile inventories are constrained. Its defense industrial base is stretched. Britain's weapons, especially long-range precision systems like Storm Shadow, directly contribute to that degradation. Striking ammunition depots means fewer shells for Russian artillery. Destroying fuel storage means less operational tempo. It's about Russia being unable to threaten anyone else for years afterward. Third, innovation and battlefield lessons. Modern warfare is evolving faster than at any point since World War II. Drones, loitering munitions, electronic warfare, cyber operations, networked fire control. These technologies are being tested, refined, and revolutionized in Ukraine. Britain is learning. Operation Interflex isn't just training Ukrainians, it's training British instructors in modern combat realities. Challenger 2's battlefield performance informs Challenger 3's design. The UK is gaining invaluable insights that will shape British military doctrine for decades. Russia expected token gestures. They got £13 billion in military aid, £4.5 billion in 2025 alone, the largest single-year package ever. The weapon Russia didn't see coming wasn't technology, it was resolve. Political will backed by military capability, sustained commitment across multiple governments, Conservative to Labour, Johnson to Sunak to Starmer, unwavering support. And it's working. Ukraine still fights. 3 years into a war Russia expected to win in weeks, Ukrainian forces hold ground, strike back, and resist occupation. Russia hasn't achieved its strategic objectives. Kyiv stands. Ukraine's government functions. The nation survives. NATO is stronger than before the invasion. Finland and Sweden joined. Defense spending across Europe increased. Alliance cohesion solidified. European security architecture, tested by the greatest threat since World War II, proved resilient. All because Britain, along with allies, chose to stand with Ukraine when it mattered most. This wasn't inevitable. Tough decisions were required. 14 Challenger 2 tanks meant fewer for Britain's own forces. Storm Shadow production restart required investment and political courage. Operation Interflex consumed a quarter of British Army training capacity. Every missile sent to Ukraine is one Britain doesn't have. Every soldier training Ukrainians isn't training British troops. Every pound spent supporting Kyiv is a pound not spent elsewhere. These are real costs, real trade-offs, real sacrifices. But the strategic calculation is clear. A weakened Russia threatening no one is worth the investment. A Ukraine that survives and thrives strengthens European stability. A NATO that demonstrates resolve deters future aggression. Britain understood this from the beginning and acted accordingly. Storm Shadow striking Russian command posts deep in occupied territory. Challenger 2 tanks destroying Russian armor at record ranges. Martlet missiles downing Russian drones by the hundreds. 56,000 Ukrainian soldiers learning British tactics, British weapons handling, British battlefield first aid. This is Britain's contribution to Ukraine's defense. This is the arsenal Russia didn't anticipate. This is the commitment Moscow underestimated. Storm Shadow, Challenger 2, Martlet, Operation Interflex. 4 weapons, 4 game changers, 4 reasons Ukraine still fights. But really, just one weapon. The unwavering resolve of a nation that understands what's at stake and refuses to look away. That's the weapon Russia didn't see coming, and it's changing everything. If this breakdown opened your eyes to Britain's critical role in Ukraine's defense, hit subscribe. Drop a comment. What surprised you most? Storm Shadow striking 250 kilometers deep? The 56,000 soldiers trained in just 3 years? Martlet arriving 5 months early? Challenger 2's 5,300-meter kill shots? We're diving deeper into military technology, strategic analysis, and how modern warfare is evolving in real time. This is Britain's hidden arsenal, the weapons Russia never expected, the commitment Moscow miscalculated. And now you understand the full story.